Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Can you guys hear me? Really good? Yeah. The fan isn't bothering you. It's the fan is be loud right now. Just want to make sure. All right, good. The chat says they can hear me. I guess there was one person that got in all trouble that my fan was be loud while getting cooked over here in the in the hottest day of the year. Yeah. But you know what? You know what? There are certain months that don't ask for permission. They just show up and suddenly everything feels different. July is one of those months. School's a distant memory. The grill somehow becomes part of the family. The girl knows what I like. The girl knows what I like. Sometimes I like Croatian food, like the past weekend, and sometimes, it's other stuff. Every weekend has a festival somewhere. Right across the street from me, there was a church festival. Yeah. um, the movie theaters are packed with the biggest blockbusters of the year. Comic book conventions start taking over the internet. Fireworks become the unofficial soundtrack of the month. It doesn't just stop at July 4th. No, it's everywhere, all over weeks. Because somehow, depending on where you live, people decide that 4th of July is actually a 2 week celebration. Yeah. And just when you think you got the month figured out, you find out it's National Ice Cream Month, National Hot Dog Month, or some wonderfully random holiday that gives everyone an excuse to celebrate something. Um, Menace, you didn't realize you live in a party town? Like what? A few weeks ago, my neighbor across the street, across the alley, celebrated their kid's birthday with a band, a live band, the banda, and um, I come home and I'm out here dancing and shit. I was like, hell yeah, there it goes, there we go. Yeah, that's fun. Welcome back to my third place. Not home, not work, but the familiar in between where nostalgia, pop culture, gaming, and chaos all collide. What we do on the show is reminisce about everything from the era of the 80s, 90s, and some of the early 2000s. From movies, TV shows, comics, wrestling, our hobbies, which include and not limited to Pokemon, Marvel Rivals gaming, collecting physical media, TikTok, and internet culture, other stuff as well. We have other stuff. We like other stuff as well. Each week, the community joins us through the live chat on TikTok or YouTube for pod deck questions, debates, top five lists, games, and deep dives, including our ongoing journey through my favorite book ever, suddenly, Dungeon Crawler Carl. It's less like a formal podcast and more like pulling up a chair in a room full of your friends and sharing stories, laughing, and remembering the things that made us who we are. Welcome to your third place. This is episode 306. And it's another solo night here on the porch. Just me, just microphone. A World Cup bracket that's getting harder to predict with every passing match. And plenty to talk about. Because over the past few days, we watched 10 round of 32 matches completely reshape the tournament. Some nations punched their ticket to the next round with confidence. Some survived by the skin of their teeth. Others saw their World Cup dreams receive a straight red card. Bye. The knockout stage has officially reminded everyone that once you get here, there are no easy matches. One bad pass, one incredible save, one magical moment, one heartbreaking penalty. That's all it takes. Tonight, we'll recap every match from this past weekend through Wednesday, July 1st. Look at the biggest surprises, celebrate the teams still dancing, and tip our caps to the countries whose tournament dreams came to a final whistle. We'll check in on our teams. We'll look ahead to the round of 16. And yes, There will probably be a few soccer puns along the way. Yeah, there will probably be a few soccer puns along the way. Because, why not? Because around here, we always try to kick the conversation into another gear. Some predictions may have missed the goal entirely, others absolutely scored a worldie. And if your favorite country got eliminated, don't worry. There's always another 4 years to get back in the game. It's just 4 years. Besides, the World Cup has a funny way of reminding us that the ball is round, 90 minutes is a long time, and absolutely nobody's bracket is safe. But this is July, which means the World Cup isn't the only thing heating up. Summer is officially in full swing, as you can tell by the sound of my fans. Yeah, I'm dying. We're all dying here. If you live in the Midwest, you you're getting cooked. Literally, you are getting cooked. You are in the frying pan. You are well done. You want to like flip some stuff over. Yeah. Uh, so summer's in full swing. Comic conventions are around the corner. Movie studios are rolling out the biggest releases of the year. Families are planning vacations. Neighborhood grills are working overtime. Ice cream somehow counts as dinner at least once a week. You know what? I have my jumbo ice cream card, so we're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. I have six of these. I have six. Do I have six? No, I have more than that. I have 10 of these. And every week it feels like it has another reason to celebrate. So tonight is part soccer recap, part summer check in, and part late night conversations on the porch. Exactly the way we like it. So grab something cold to drink. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Pull up a chair in the front porch. Let's see which countries are still chasing soccer immortality. This is episode 306 of the M3P podcast. Let's kick things off. Goal! Damn. There you go. Oh. All right. Lately I've got Pokemail. So let's do that first. Goal! Let's do that first. A lot of freaking things came in. Look at this. Pokemail. Let's see what's in the Pokemail, y'all. No, no, not really. So I went on TCG and I ordered like 161 cards. Yeah, and there's the guy that like got the cards, the seller. I've ordered from him before, and he's a pretty cool kid, pretty cool guy. Scar Shocks game, TCG. Let me see if that's am I saying it right? Scar Shocks games. Um, like I usually order at least like 50, 70. 160. He must have been like, dude, what? What are you doing? That's a lot of cards. Yeah. So he sent me a message with if I putting these cards in like a Pokédex online and stuff. This way he can see which cards I'm missing and get them ready for me for when I order again. So yeah, that's exactly what I'm gonna start doing from now on. Apparently. Um. So he sent me these. That's a lot of them. I'm not gonna like show them off all of them today at all. Like I can show this one off, obviously. Oof. There's a small pack. So let me show this one off real quick. He says thank you. I love how he sends every time he sends me a pack, he sends me with a sticker. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna put this by the computer, on the computer, on the uh, on the laptop. The past ones that he sent me, I still have them. They're freaking hilarious. Yeah, I still have those. So these are the ones that he sent me before. I just keep them close by just in case I want to like stick them on something. So this is the one that he sent me this time, Snivy or Snibby, depending on who you ask. I don't know. I don't know their names. I just know how to say them. Uh, so yeah, let's look at pack number one. Let's see what we got. And I think he did them in order. He did. And Ascended Heroes one, Carco. All right, hold on. There we go. Frostmoth. I feel like I have these already. Jinx, Shedinja, Strudel, Spearow, Esper, Fletchinder, Fletchinder again. Why did I order two? What is that? Furflow, Turtonator, Turtonator again, Among Us. Who's that? Audino, Axu, B Sharp. Who's that? Conqueror and Duosis, Duosion, and Kling Klang. There's more. Probably the 50 and 50 in the other packs. I don't think this is at all. There's like 20 of them in here at least. All right, so there's that. I got that. And then I was looking at my old stuff back there, the other the other binders and stuff, and you know, I wanted to start putting the cards in a nice little, binder, but the binder want it has to match the color of the box or the set that is in. Like Scarlet and Violet, Black Bolt and White Flare. I'm putting them in a black and white binder. Paradox Rift is in a teal binder. Uh, what else? Twilight Masquerade in a green binder. So I was looking at my Search and Sparks, and like, there's a lot of them in there already. And I decided, you know what, I'm gonna buy a yellow binder. So it came in today. We're about to open it up. So I ordered online. It's a yellow binder. It's just any random yellow binder. Also, this past weekend, I went to the antique store and bought me a pink binder because why not? One can never have too many binders, right? So I bought me the pink binder, and in the pink binder had a bunch of Pokemon cards, common, uncommon, two, one Japanese and another. I don't know what it was, but it was just the basic stuff basically. They made it seem like it was gonna be like something. No, like I already have some of these cards. That's great. Okay, let me put the cards in the bulk, but I'm gonna put the what cards am I gonna put in there? I don't know. Maybe I'll do a Valentine's Day binder where all the pink cards, all the fairy cards, all the pretty cards are in there. Um, and I'll put that in there as well. So yeah, I'll make that up. Here's the yellow, big yellow binder. Red has joined the conversation. Hello, Red. How you doing? Here's the yellow binder. Jesus, huge. I'm gonna put. I'm gonna print out something as Surging Sparks um, fan art, and I'm gonna put it over here, and then I'm gonna fill all this up with Surging Sparks cards. A 4x9 binder, 12 pocket, 580, or is it 480? I don't. I totally forgot. I spaced out. But yeah, can't wait to use it. Okay, that's about it. Everything is good. How are you, Red? Hope you're having a great night. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate all of you being here. All the producers are in the house now. All the mods are in the house. They're all ready. If anybody joins in and starts saying the annoying things, I'm pretty sure they're gonna be the upset about it. And yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Of course. Um. What else did I get? That's about it. I wish someone would say something. Wow, she's ready to go. She's ready. She's ready. Okay. So what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing first? Which one do you want to do first? You guys want to go with the obvious one? Oh no, I gotta show you guys what I printed out. So I've also been using. Where is it? Apologize. I've also been using TCG Pocket, and there's some pretty cool cards in there. I don't know why we can't like print it, like we can't order them. Like I've tried to look up like can we order these cards, and obviously not. I can't. There's no way to order them. But you know what? I want to show them to you. I want to show the cards that I ended up getting, that I ended up screenshotting and then saving on my computer, and then you know printing them out, because why not? They're so fun. Um, First of all, these right here, Poliwag, pretty cool card. That's real. That's real. Here's a Guzma trainer card from TCG Pocket. Pavilion from TCG Pocket. Charmander, pretty cool card. I want this, and for real. Machamp X, Serena. I think that's real. Real also. Yeah, these are somewhat real. This is my chase card. Well, it's not this one, but it's the other one. That's my chase card. Perrin, but it's the one where she's taking a picture of Rowlet. Okay. So these are the cards that I ended up printing on online on TCG Pocket. There's Goomy, there's Psyduck. Let me show the other people over here. Some of it right there. Okay. Here's Squirtle and Moonbream. Umbreon. I don't know. I don't. Sorry if I said Umbreon. Those right there. Those are pretty cards, right? And you can only do them on TCG Pocket. And I'm like, ugh, I wish I had them for real. Lapras and Meow. Meow. Lapras. All right, I'm almost done. I'm almost done. I'm almost done. Here is Mega Amperos and a Lone Executor. The fact that I got Mega Amperos on TCG Pocket instead of real, uh, that means that there's a Mega Amperos also. And we have a Mewtwo, a Mew. Wait, what? Mewtwo and a Dragonite. So yeah. So I'm gonna don't know what I'm gonna do with them. I'm probably gonna like for some of these. I'm probably gonna put them in the pink binder just because why not? The TCG binder. There you go. There it is. There it is. Remind me to tell you something about DC Dungeon Crawler Carl, because I did more stuff. There's Kevin, the announcer, the Gate of the Pharaoh God, the god of we just saw it in the book. There's Brittany, the new brawler. Uh, the Sharktopus, Orthrus, the two-headed dog, and what's his name? Carl with a arm, and there's Luska. Luska, I think that's what's her name. The Sharktopus. All right, great, right? We did it. We did. We did all the stuff. We got it. Okay, I'm loving it. Let's go. Um, yeah. So remind me for later to tell you something I just saw that was so cool. Um, all right, let's do World Cup update. Welcome back to our World Cup update. Before we continue to do the standings, let's do another World Cup 101 segment. Every week, we're going to spend about 2 minutes explaining one part of soccer that longtime fans already know, but casual fans might not. Now, by the time the World Cup final gets here, you'll know enough about the sport to watch a match with anyone and actually understand what's going on. I started doing this because why not? It's on the podcast. I'm not going to post it on TikTok because I didn't see that many people interested in it. Case in point, I was scrolling through TikTok and um, this girl was trying to explain penalty kicks and she didn't have enough views. So I'm just like, see, that's why I don't do it. So you know what? We're just gonna keep it going. Um, but I'm still gonna explain all my stuff. You gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. All right. So here's 101. Here's the first thing. Why does the clock keep running? This one confused me when I first started understanding the game. I'm like, why aren't they calling a timeout? Tiempo, 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 tiempo. No. Even in high school, I was like, can I call a timeout? No. The clock keeps running. What do you mean? The game says 45 minutes per half, but then suddenly you see +6 or +8 minutes. Unlike football or basketball, the clock doesn't stop every time play stops. Instead, the referee keeps track of time lost because of injuries, substitutions, celebrations, reviews, or players wasting time. That extra time gets added at the end of each half. So when you see +7 minutes, that doesn't mean overtime. It just means the referee is giving back the time that was lost. Um, some of the people are just like, what does it all mean? Well, that's what it means. 45 minutes plus 10 more minutes because this person was being rude and there was a fight and, you know, there was a kid running out to meet Messi and take pictures and selfies with him. Yeah, that happens a lot. Um, Sometimes the clock will go over 45 minutes plus 45 minutes. Sometimes they'll go 190 minutes, 120 minutes actually. Yeah, 2 hours, 2 hour clock. Penalty kicks versus penalty shootouts. A lot of people think these are the same thing. They're not. This is the one that the girl was explaining on TikTok, and I'm like, yeah, that's true. Like, you don't understand what that is? Well, damn. All right. A penalty kick happens during the game when the defender commits a foul inside their own penalty box. The offensive player gets one shot against only the goalkeeper. A penalty shootout happens only after a knockout game ends, tied, and extra time has been played. There's a lot of that this past week. There are at least two of that this past week. Each team gets five shooters. Think of it like baseball's home run derby or hockey's shootout. If it's still tied after five, they keep going one shot at a time until somebody wins. Somebody has to score. Overtime, overtime, overtime. Um, yeah. So those are your 101 for the week. Hope you understand everything that's going on. We're going to do some more next week on Saturday. We're just going to spend about 2 minutes playing that part of soccer. The round of 32 is in full swing, and if these matches are any indication, we're in for one incredible knockout stage. Remember, once you get here, there's no second chance. Win and move on. Lose, and your World Cup journey is over. So let's kick things off. Canada punched its ticket to the round of 16 with a solid victory over South Africa. Looks like Canada wasn't saying sorry after this one. They politely took the win and kept on marching. One of the biggest matches of the tournament so far came between Morocco and the Netherlands. After battling through regulation and extra time, everything came down to penalty kicks, where Morocco held their nerve and advanced. And if you're a Mexican soccer fan, you probably enjoyed this one just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Because the moment the Netherlands were eliminated, social media immediately brought back one of the most famous soccer phrases ever. No era penal. No era penal. No era penal. No era penal. Which translates to it wasn't a penalty. For those who don't know the story, back in 2014 World Cup, Mexico was just minutes away from advancing when Dutch star Arjen Robben went down in the penalty box after contact from Rafael Marquez. The referee awarded a penalty. The Netherlands converted it, and Mexico was eliminated. To this day, to this day, many Mexican fans believed Robin exaggerated the contact, and no era penal has become much more than a soccer phrase. It's become part of soccer culture. Anytime there's a controversial penalty, and especially involving the Netherlands, you almost always see something posting, no era penal. More than a decade later, the meme is still alive, especially this past weekend. Before we continue, Jane! Hi, honey. How are you? Um, Paraguay versus Germany. Talk about drama. Germany and Paraguay played one of the longest and most exciting matches of round 32. After 2 exhausting hours of soccer, it all came down to penalty kicks. Paraguay kept their composure, buried the decisive shots, and sent Germany home. Talk about German engineering. Paraguay found the off switch. France 3, Sweden 0. France looked absolutely dominant. They swept Sweden 3 and 0 and never really gave them a chance to get back into the match. Mbappe and company are making it very clear they're not here for a vacation. Oh no, they're here for another World Cup. France didn't just get the win, they served it fresh. Belgium defeated Senegal. Belgium also moved on after defeating Senegal. The Red Devils continue to march toward the quarterfinals. Looks like Belgium found the sweet spot, and it wasn't just chocolate. Now let's talk about my teams. Both Brazil and Norway survived the round of 32. Unfortunately, that means they now have to play each other. No matter what happens this weekend, I'm guaranteed to lose one of my favorite teams. I'm calling this one the Viking funeral meets the Samba party. One team's dancing home, the other one is rowing home. And then there's another matchup that caught my attention: England versus Mexico. I actually got a message from a friend of the podcast, Lady Emily, reminding me that England is coming for Mexico this Sunday. Lady M, I'm sorry, kiddo. It's coming home. Just not this year. Mexico's hoping to tell England, mind the gap because you're about to miss the quarterfinals. Jane is laughing in the chat. We're good. As long as Jane is laughing about that Norway joke, we're good. We're good. Love you. Love you. Love you, Norway. I love you guys. We're not finished yet. There's still 6 matches left to determine the rest of the round 16. Thursday, Switzerland versus Algeria, Spain versus Austria, Portugal versus Croatia. Cristiano Ronaldo faces one of my neighbor's favorite teams, Croatia. Um, they've been listening to me yell out goal the entire time, and like I've been listening to them as well when Croatia is playing. So yeah, it's been pretty fun. Will Ronaldo continue chasing World Cup, or will Croatia check him into an early vacation? Friday, we have Colombia versus Ghana, Australia versus Egypt, Argentina versus Cabo Verde. And of course, I'll be watching Argentina closely to see what Lionel Messi has left in the tank. Men's in the chat says, Adios, Inglaterra. Yes, adios, Inglaterra. All right. So here's what we know so far. Saturday, July 4th, Canada vs Morocco at noon. This one should be a lot of fun. Canada's looking to keep the maple syrup flowing, while Morocco hopes their magic carpet ride continues. Jane says we haven't lost to Brazil like in ages, so fingers crossed we don't do it Sunday either. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Paraguay versus France at 4 p.m. Can Paraguay shock another European powerhouse, or will Mbappe continue his sprint toward another World Cup trophy? Monday, Belgium versus the winner of USA versus Bosnia. I figured this was going to come up. Apparently, USA won against Bosnia 2-0. Swept. Great. I have no jokes for that. At least USA won. Belgium waits patiently to see who joins them in the next round. Looks like USA is joining next in the next round. Sunday, Brazil versus Norway. I don't like this matchup. I'm happy one of my teams is advancing. I'm sad one of my teams is going home. Either way, I'm cheering until the final whistle. Oh, I'm going for Norway. I gotta go with the Vikings. I gotta go with the producers. The producer wants me to cheer for Norway. You know, I gotta cheer for Holland. Why not? Mexico versus England. This might be the matchup I'm looking forward to the most. The passion, the history, the fan bases. This one has all the ingredients to be an instant classic. Vamos Mexico! All right, that'll do it for today's World Cup update. We'll be back on Saturday, July 4th, breaking down the remaining round of 32 matches, making our predictions for every round of 16 matchup, and seeing which 8 countries we think will punch their tickets to the quarterfinals. The road to lifting the World Cup trophy keeps getting narrower, the pressure gets heavier, and from here on out, every match could become a classic. We'll see you on Saturday. Until then, enjoy the football, and as always, Gol! Golazo! Oh, shoot. Okay. Where are we at? 32 minutes? Awesome. Jane, how are you, honey? How you doing? How you feeling? Oh, I'm going to be a rock on too. I'm going to be like, I wonder how she's feeling right now. Let's go. I gotta check in on you. So when you wake up on Sunday, just come on here. Or Saturday. Is that when we're playing? Sunday. So when you wake up on Monday, just come on over and yeah. Because then like Mexico and England is playing too. So yeah. All right. How you feeling? Everything good over there? Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. Okay. All right, man. Here we go. You know what this means. You know it's time. You know what time it is. Um, love when they played in Dallas though, because I was as early as 7 p.m. Hell yeah, Melissa Ann, how you doing? You know where this is going. Obviously, it's all over. We finished the whole book last night. I finished the whole book last night. Freaking stayed up till like 4 a.m. to try and read it. It's done and over with. Never doing that again. Um, Today's episode is a full spoiler review of Dungeon Crawler Carl Book 4, The Gate of the Pharaoh Gods. If you haven't finished the book yet, save this episode and come back after you escape the fourth floor. Um, when I finished book 3, I honestly thought Matt Dinneman like couldn't do any more damage at all. Um, the Heckler betrayal, the Maestro fight, I didn't think it could get much better than any of that, and other people proved me wrong. And then I opened book 4, and they told me wait until you get to read, wait until you get to book 4, wait until you get to book 4. So I opened book 4, and this book made me laugh so hard, stress out so hard, and care about characters that I've never cared about ever in my life, deeper than any of the previous books, any previous books that I ever read, for that matter. Um, it felt like a giant MMO raid, a Saturday morning cartoon. It felt like a Saturday morning cartoon. Mythology lessons, reality TV show stuff. And if you ever watch Community, the TV show, you would be like, yeah, that's exactly the comedy what it reminds me of Dan Harmon and Community and what's it called? Rick and Morty jokes in there as well. Um, I'm not recapping all 34 chapters one by one. Instead, we're talking about moments. Um, Moments that made this book so unforgettable. Moments that made this book so hilarious. Moments that made this book my favorite. My favorite in the series so far. It's. I'm sorry. I'm already gonna like rank it. It's number one. It's number one. It's above all the other books that I've come across already from here from here on out. Um, all right, where we left off in season 2, season 3. I'm gonna call it season 3. I don't care. Where we left off in book 3, the cross shift from trains to a desert war. The floor is divided into giant magical bubbles. Floating castles hover over the battlefield. Every bubble becomes its own miniature campaign. It did. Like floor 3, like at the end of it, it's like here's like choose your own destination. Like spin the wheel to choose your future. And every crawler did, except for one who was who talk about that later. And every crawler did, and then they ended up in a sand dunes and in the air, subaquatic, um, all kinds of places, all kinds of drama. Um, the rules for this floor: capture 4 castles, pop the bubble, connect with neighboring bubbles, connect with your other crawlers, recruit crawlers to help you capture the 4 castles and pop the bubbles, defend the NPCs, and survive. Just survive. Um, each uh, campaign had one team that was at least strong, and the other ones were just like weak players, layups. I'm still talking layups even after last season, last books. The layups from what I talked about last book was the challenge layups when the the veterans use the new guys to like you know help them to the finals so that the veterans have a have a better chance of winning the final because there's a layup in there. Um, for here, the layup you have to help you win this and pop the bubbles. And unfortunately, the layups are weak. They're weak layups. They're at level 12, 20, something like that, while the big the veterans team are just like level 30, level 40, level 50, around there. So it felt like a real time strategy. Um, try to get the try to get your crawlers, get to the crawlers that are around that are scattered all over the place, unite, and then help them level up. His new form returns as an eagle skyfowl. I've said it before. Every floor he looks like something different. Floor number one, we met him as a rat. Floor number two, he was a bugaboo bear, something like that. I don't know what that was. Floor number three, he was a frog, right? Floor number three, he wasn't a frog in floor number three. Floor number three, he was a succubus. And floor number four, he was a frog. Floor number five, he's here as a skyfowl, but he can't fly. That's the bad thing about it. He can't fly that high, but he can use his talons and his wings for other stuff as well. Every floor, I look forward to seeing what creature he's going to become next. So this next floor that we are in, that we're going to go for next, floor number six. I can't wait to hear what because I heard stories, but I want to know what he actually looks like. In book drawer, book four. To some of my favorite NPCs so far. Camels, fucking camels. Humtown, Humtown. We got camels in Humtown. We got Joe Camel. It wasn't Joe Camel. It was just camels that looked like Joe Camel. The Marlboro cigarette camel. Marble. No, just Joe Camel. We had bars called the Toe, the Spit and Swallow. What else? It was out of pocket stuff. It was ridiculous stuff. Um, we got Juice Box, who uh, before we get to that, we had what's it called? Oh, NPCs. Yeah, Juice Box. We got Juice Box who can turn into. She's a shapeshifter. She's a chandelier. She's a shapeshifter. She can turn into anything you ask her to. And these two crawlers were drunk and high and trying to get her to change into one of our favorite one every time into one of our childhood crushes from the 90s. Yeah. We got Ghazi, Mr. Ghazi. We have his wife, Sandcastle. Um, we got Samantha. How do I describe Samantha again? A severed head of a sex doll. We have a freaking Emberus, the god, a fire god, and then his son's dog, Orthrus. Yeah, who is also the brother of Cerberus. Um, yeah, it's like the author has gotten so good at making NPCs feel like actual people instead of just quest givers. And there were more. There were more NPCs. I just can't recall them. Like there were more, and I just laughed at the entire thing. What some of this floor reminded me of was Dune. I said it at the first, like the first few chapters. I said Risk, the game of Risk, but it wasn't. It was like Stronghold, where you go and like take over castles, and teams have to like defend, or the NPCs have to defend the castle. Tower defense games, Marble Rivals team competitions. Oh yeah, This whole floor reminded me of that. The freaking Langley crawler and the crawlers that he came with were nothing but um, bow and arrow guys. So basically, a bunch of DPS. None of these guys had any like tanks or what's it called supports or to healers like all that stuff. So when they said it, I was like, oh yes, sounds like Marvel Rivals when I'm trying to play on comp and rank up because nobody wants to play support, nobody wants to play tank. Uh, so yeah, that's exactly what this thing reminded me of. Um, Matt Dinneman has a formula. The author has a formula. Like I noticed the rhythm, like somewhere around book three, because that's when I started getting all like, hey, let's analyze this stuff. Let's think about this stuff. We go from Hecla dying to like a whole decompression chapter to like more drama. So like when I read this book, it just felt like that big battle that turns into comedy, that turns into character growth, that turns into building up your character or your world. It goes to comedy again with the ridiculous jokes, is and then another battle, and then copy, repeat, paste, another big battle, comedy, growth, achievement, comedy. It keeps on going. It keeps on going. It keeps on going. The pacing is incredible. I loved it. Every time there was a battle, I would read the decompression chapter and then end it right there. It's like, all right, we're good. Let's read the next chapter tomorrow. Let's read it the next time. And like from there, I like write down my thoughts about how I felt about these chapters and what I thought about them. Um, like you're exhausted, but he lets everyone breathe, and then once you're good, the chaos starts all over again, and you're like, "What the hell did I just read?" Memorable battles and story moments. Okay, first of all, the first battle, the first freaking battle, and it wasn't even. We got to see it, and it was from the perspective of the recap episode of the crawlers watching the recap, and it was Lucia Mar and Ifechi, and Lucia Mar was instigating the entire thing to us, to the viewers. Lucia Mar was instigating the whole thing. Ifechi was like trying to like calm her down. Florin was just like calling her names. So Ifechi is like, just chill. It's okay. It's gonna be okay. Um, but Lucia Mar was like, no. You know what? You need to calm your alligator down, or else something's gonna happen to you in your head. And what Lucia Mar did was she had a protective bubble on her and her dogs, and I think it was like rubber and glue. It was it was rubber where Florin used his shotgun and shot at Lucia Mar, and then the shots bounced off Lucia and hit Ifechi in the head, and she and killed her. So when everything was transpiring, everybody was watching it, and it was like, "Oh shoot, what just happened? Did Florin just accidentally shoot Ifechi?" No, he was trying to shoot at Lucia, but everything came in at once. Ifechi was an emotional gut punch. But it also made me question the edit because I questioned the edit last book because Hecla was before she died. She we find out she's a psychotherapist and she was analyzing Carl from the get go from the start. And so she was analyzing TV version of Carl, the edited version of Carl, where they made him into this maniacal guy who was just doing things out of the blue and laughing crazy and stuff. And so, like, not everything you see on TV is true. And it reminded me so much of it reminded me so much of the what's it called, the reality shows, um the challenge, Big Brother, what's it called, um yeah, all those, Survivor, the game, where, all right, man, good night, bye, see you tomorrow. It reminded me so much of those those reality shows where, like, you know, um they have one side of the story, but the cast has another side of the story, their own story, and it's like, don't believe everything you see on TV and all this stuff. So when the whole Heckless thing happened, she was going by what she saw on TV with Carl. So the same thing here applies here. Not everything you see on TV is real. So the whole thing with Lucia Mar and Fetchy, really started? Like, it made me question: did Lucia Mar really instigate it, or was Florin and Fetchy the instigators the whole time, and Lucia Mar was just like trying to defend herself? You know, what was the real thing? Like, were we seeing what actually happened, or what the producers wanted us to see? So that's one of the most memorable battles in the entire book. It was at the very beginning, Lucia Mar and Fetchy, and Fetchy dying. Um, Next, fast forward to the goose chase. The goose, the fucking goose, the goose, the crazy goose. One of the funniest quests in the series, hands down. Equal parts hilarious, and strangely, it's like strangely. Oh my god. Let me drink water real quick. Um, it was a wild goose chase, apparently, because you couldn't use magic against the goose, but the only way to hurt it was to use everything that was near it, that was in the house, and they did. Meanwhile, there's a little girl there, Denise. The goose was named Denise. The girl was named Bonnie, right? The girl was named Bonnie. The She was a gnome, and she's just like, telling everybody, like, "Do you want some lemonade?" And we all assumed, even the readers assumed, like, "Hey, drink the lemonade. It's probably a potion. It'll probably gonna do something for you." And then Carl grabs the lemonade, drinks it, and here comes the AI. It's like, I mean, lemonade's just lemonade, dude. I don't know why you drank it. Like, oh, what the hell? He didn't realize that he could use everything in part of the house to hit the goose, because the goose is part of the house. Very end of it, because I already said it's going to be a spoiler. At very end of it um, is Carl grabbing the goose by the freaking neck and shoving him into the sink, and turning the sink on, and it reminded me so much of Gremlins, when the gremlin is stuck in the thing, and it goes round and round. And after that, um, the garbage disposal. Yes, thank you, Lana. Appreciate you. Um, this garbage disposal. So he throws the goose in the garbage disposal, turns it on. Goose is dead. It's fine. He wins the quest, and the house was supposed to be falling down. As soon as the quest is done, the house stops from falling, and they get down and everything. Meanwhile, at the same time, the AI is upset, gets mad at Carl, tells him he's a jerk and everything. Apparently, we find out later that Carl was giving the AI blue balls because, you know, Um, the enemy team was throwing balls at them, and in those balls were gerbils. So the AI decided, "Look, I'm gonna choose violence today, and I'm gonna throw all the gerbils at you until you give me what I want." And that was, you know, step on those gerbils. And that's what I said. It was one of those funny things ever. Um, the sharktopus, the gerbil attack. Yeah, the sharktopus. Let's go with the sharktopus. It was another memorable moment. It's one of my favorite boss fights. Not because of the monster, because everything happening around it. We get Kevin, the announcer, and Magnificent Troy, who looks like the maestro. So to Carl, it was just like, oh shit, here we go. No, it's just some guy that looks like the maestro who is doing color commentating with Kevin on the fight because it was a new setup they wanted to use. They wanted to try out with this fight right here, and everything that was happening, they were commentating and loud, very loud too. So it was like boss battle between Carl, Tran, and Katya versus Shark Octopus. The Shark Octopus that looks like this, and on everywhere, all those right there, the shark has babies, and every little baby is going after after Carl. So there were thousands of shark babies, and it was absolute chaos. And it reminded me again, Community. It reminded me so much of Community. If you ever seen Community, you know about Troy and Abed. You know about Troy and Abed in the morning, and you know the self aware guys that well Abed is mostly self aware that he's in a TV show, but they all play along with it, and Troy is just like his partner sidekick. So this mostly reminded me of them two just having fun. Um, and Kevin and Troy just like ripping on Carl for everything that he's doing and everything. And the biggest surprise character of the entire book, a severed sex doll head. It was just crazy. It was amazing. They find it with the whole Gazi and Sandcastle slime chapter. This guy is married to a sandcastle slime. It's a sandcastle, but it also turns into a slime. We get shades of the blob right here, and like in order to defeat it, Carl climbs up on the cage, on the cave, on the walls, and uses one of the traps. Thank you for the follow. He uses one of the traps and he throws it, and it's this jump around, and it's the base is helping the sandcastle, and the sandcastle is like going by the base. Soon, and the shark eats the trap, and every time the base hits, you can tell there's trouble coming because there's a shark somewhere in the freaking ocean, just swimming around, and there's base coming out of its freaking body, and it's jump around over and over and over again. I wonder if the shark is already tired of it. Embers and Orthros, a giant god, and Embers is a giant god looking for his son's puppy. It's simultaneously mythology and the funniest "Who's a Good Boy" story ever written. Orthros is just a puppy, um, trying to trying to play. He's trying to play with the crawlers, but he's a giant puppy, and the giant puppy wants to play, and the crawlers are like, "No, get out of here." Chris and Maggie. Chris, we find out Chris is shows up, and he has Maggie inside of him. Maggie turned into a Volte worm. And for some reason, the Volatile worms immediately reminded me of the Yerks from Animorphs from back in the day, from back in the 90s. Um, and like that was a great book too. I freaking loved that book. It was awesome. It was amazing. My brother was into it, and then I got into it as well because it was just sci-fi stuff. So it just reminded me of the Animorphs. Um, like who's in control? Can the real person be saved? And those questions made this one of the darkest storylines in the book because he didn't know. And then we find out that Maggie was inside Chris the entire time. So when Chris killed Frank Q, it was actually Maggie doing the whole killing. Quan Chi, we all know he's the guy that took the Celestial Box when it was really for Carl and Donut. But he's running around, shooting stuff at the last minute and like taking all the credit for everything. And we find out why. He has rings on his fingers that lets him do that. That it's like, hey, if he has a lower HP, he can go in there, and Quan Chi can go in there and like slide on in and take it out. It was This was a fight though. This was a fight that's been brewing for quite some time. It was two different philosophies colliding. Quan was chasing the loot because the AI decided, like, I'm going to cause chaos. And if you guys kill this dog, I'll give you a pet monkey and some loot. But the real quest was, Carl, you have to save this dog. So Quan was chasing the loot. Carl was protecting the loot. Carl was protecting the quest. And the difference defined the entire battle. Uh, at the very end, we get to see Carl fighting him, beating his ass, and ripping his arm off. And Quan Chi just lived to see another day. Promise I'm almost done. Um, the moments that made me laugh throughout the entire book, the goose, it was so hilarious. It was a wild goose chase. Affleck. Um, if we ever get to the TV version of this, if we ever get to like season 4, season 5, whatever, however many seasons this ever gets, if we ever get to see the goose, can we get the goose perspective of the whole thing? Just run around and go after him and like bite him and stuff. That'd be great. Yeah, I'm unleashing gerbils because Carl gave it blue balls was one of my everything about it made me laugh because the AI was in his feelings. Like you haven't shown me your feet in quite a while, and you're not doing it right now. So either do that, or I'm just gonna unleash all these gerbils until you do it. And so Katya and Donna said, "Do it," and he did. He did. Uh, Another thing that made me laugh: Carl and Mordecai spending 2 pages silently chatting while everyone else just watches them stand there. If you know about the book, you know about the sidebar, the chat system, where they're just like if you're just hanging out with your friends or anything, and you're texting, but you're texting each other while other people are just hanging out with you as well. Like, you have that side chat, and like, why are you guys testing each other when you can talk to each other? It's like because we don't want to be so loud. Same thing here. They don't want to be so loud, but at the same time, it's 2 pages of them talking about a plan and then realizing, oh shit, people can see us just standing here staring at each other. We should get back to the conversation. We should get back to being in real life and hanging out. And then when they do, Carl's all like, so yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We can do that. And then everybody's staring at him like, what's going on? What's happening here? Meanwhile, other crawlers are just like, oh yeah, we do that all the time. Um, the entire all these characters are make me laugh. Louis and Fyrus, the new crawlers that are like, they're drunk crawlers, and they ask Juicebox. A Juicebox is an NPC. She can change into anything. They want Juicebox to cosplay our childhood crushes. She starts off as what was that? Who Framed Roger Rabbit girl? The red one, bro. What's going on? What happened? Um, Uh, Jessica Rabbit. There you go, Jessica. Um, she starts off as Jessica Rabbit, and then she moves into Gadget from Chippendale Rescue Rangers, and then she's doing all kinds of other things as well. They got her to do Lola Bunny, and then Mordecai is all like, "You two are losers," and then Spyro's all like, "Hey, did you ask the girl to change into Big Bird? I didn't know." And then they called Donut a dog, and that upset her, and she was laughing the entire time. And that whole few chapters of Louis and Fira's just, you know, being them. And again, it reminds me so much of Community, where two friends are having um, the time of their lives, just doing whatever they want to do. Kevin and Magnificent Troy commentating over Complete Chaos. Already said that. Everyone's reacting to Ghazi marrying and apparently consummating her relationship with a slime sandcastle. Yes, you need to watch Community. It is so freaking awesome. Um, that one, and then the real reveal of Samantha being the head. What else? There was something else also. I totally forgot. I totally glazed over it. Louis. Oh yeah. Apparently, Juice at the very end of the chapters, the very end of the story, Juicebox wants to marry Lewis, and you know they're gonna have a life together pretty soon. A crawler and a PC character. Wow. Pop culture connections. One of my favorite things about reading the series has been figuring out what each moment reminds me of. I already said Community. Animorphs, the Balte worms, Maggie being one of them. Oren was another one. He had Valte worm in him, which goes into directly into Crawl and Order, Law and Order ripoff. Oren interviewing Carl felt exactly like a police procedural. Like it felt like Internal Affairs interviewing a cop for shooting and stuff. He was trying to get Carl to confess and killing Loida, and he's like, "I didn't. What are you talking about, dude? I don't know anything." This whole book reminded me of so much of Marvel Rivals. No healers, no tanks. Everybody picked DPS. Everybody was just like shooting and stuff. The only healers around were like a few of them. In this bubble, we had um, the only healer that was in this bubble was her name Donut, and the only healers on the other side of the bubbles was Imani. So it was just like one healer at a time. The lower level crawlers trying to survive together reminded me of Solo Q, just bronze moment, just doing whatever to just survive. Stronghold, the floating castles, siegs, bubble warfare. The desert reminded me so much of Dune. Um, what's it called? Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, Mad Max series. Taking place in the desert. Um, the environment itself trying to kill you, and then we say goodbye. The final chapters slow everything down. Katya chooses her own path. She wants to go after Eva, who is now in the top 10 of the leaderboard. So, like, she doesn't want any of the other daughters to join her. But then again, they are because they have no one else to go to. We find out that Eva killed off the fairy that was supposed to set up Carl and the fairy's daughters. And so she's trying to scare the other girls, the other fairies, and like, join me or I will kill you. So Katya doesn't want Carl and Donut to be a part of this because she doesn't want them getting in the way. She doesn't want to be in the way of his stuff, and then he doesn't want her to be in the way as well. So she decides I'm gonna go solo and start my own team, which is end up being Bautista and Florin because they're alone, especially Florin, who we now know survived just by being there. He was supposed to spin the wheel. He never did. He just stayed there the entire time because he was still heartbroken that Ifechi died. So he didn't do much the entire season at all. He just stood in the same place as ever. And they found him, and what's her name? Katya decided, I'm going to be my own leader, and I'm going to take you with me and go over there. Uh, She finds family with Batista and Florin. Then they hug. Carl, Donna, and Katya. One final hug. One of the most emotional moments of the series. It was. It was. It was. Like we see Katya all grown up now. Those 5 days that um, Carl and Donna disappeared to do the interview with Oren, Katya decided, you know what, I got to do this on my own from now on. So that felt that she needed to do that. Um, I think there's more, but you know what? It's almost at the end time, and I want to get through this. All right. Thank you for your service, crawlers. Every floor leaves fewer names on the leaderboard. This is our chance to remember the ones who didn't make it, the ones who didn't make it, the ones that disappeared, the ones that passed away. And if I had, if I had music to do this, it'd be Sarah McLaughlin. This is where we remember the crawlers and allies whose journeys ended during the crawl, whether they fell in battle, made impossible sacrifices, or simply couldn't survive another floor. They mattered. Ifechi, a top 10 crawler whose death at the start of book 4 was shocking, not just because it happened, but because of how it was presented. Though a replay, we were through a replay, we were reminded that in this universe, edits and perspective can change how the audience sees a person. Ifechi, may your crawl be remembered. Who else? Maggie Mai, a complicated antagonist whose parasitic existence echoed the body horror of Animorphs. Her end, courtesy of Mongo, was abrupt, gruesome, and strangely fitting for the chaos of the crawl. Every invasion eventually ends. We find out, we already said that about Chris and Maggie, but the way she died was. Oh, the way she died. Oh, so the way she died. Freaking. So Carl goes into Chris's head, rips it open, and just grabs the freaking worm and like takes it off. But the worm squiggles, squiggles, slitters, and burrows inside um, Carl's wrist, and he feels her just going up to her brain. So Carl takes two potions because if you take two potions, you poison yourself. So he poisons himself. He poisons Maggie, who's inside, and then Donut heals Carl, and it just kicks Maggie out from his neck. Yeah, and I'm like, oh, that's freaking crazy. So she falls, and here comes Mongo, ripping her to shreds, eating her, spits her out, and about to eat her again. And then Carl says, "No, wait, we gotta loot her." Like, okay. So they loot her, and then Mongo eats her again. It was disgusting. It was great. It was great. It was a great way to see her get the hell out of here, and we loved it. There's countless of unarmed crawlers. Every leaderboard update reminds us that hundreds and thousands disappear between chapters. The story follows Carl, but the crawl is filled with victories and tragedies we'll never fully see. And they are Vadim, Morris the Spider, Loida, Loti, the banana suit guy, gone but never forgotten, of course, because he was a banana. He's a banana. He's a banana. And Quan Chi's arm. Quan Chi survived, but his pride didn't. But yeah. May the system remember your names, even if history doesn't. Farewell. And then that was the end of it. The end of it, the very, very end of it, before we say goodbye, Carl does one last stupid thing. The stupid thing is he explodes the next floor and he floods it. He floods the next floor, and we find out later, early in the book, that they were supposed to have hunters in the on the next floor from the ninth floor. So these hunters from the ninth floor go to the sixth floor to hunt and claim the bounties of the top 10. But um, Carl does away with all that, explodes it, and kills some of the hunters. The Voltaic Corporation, the Borant, everybody is all like up in arms. We don't appreciate that. We don't want that. And Carl just says a big middle finger to them, and so like, you will not break me. Fuck you guys. You will not break me. And it was a decision. It was a stupid decision, but it was a stupid decision that he was willing to make. Nick Fury. So, and that's how he ends the book. That's how he ends the book, by like saying that and being like, "All right, I'm ready for the next floor," and they leave. And then we think it's over, and the epilogue shows up. No Odette show because she was canceled due to what Carl did to Loida. So it's never over. It really is never. So the epilogue happens. Matt Dinneman reminds us the crawl isn't the whole story. We see three completely different perspectives. The sponsors, which just gave it was Dr. Hugh and another member of the Open Intellect Pacifist Action Network, and they are discussing Carl's growing influence. Um, what else did I say about this part? Nothing. I thought I did. Never mind. Okay, so no. Um, there's one part. The other part was the hunters, two hunters. The story of two hunters, Sadir and Genrick. They're searching for Earth for a gravy boat, which we find out later is Ferdinand. Which we find out it was Donut's secret affair. The universe keeps moving. And but the biggest freaking reveal, man. I wasn't even expecting this. As soon as I read it, I was just like all over, like, wow, Beatrice is alive. Um, it wasn't even in her perspective at all. It was in the perspective of the guy that took pictures with her on Instagram to piss off Carl because it was um, her friends that wanted to do it, and the motherfucker calls him a cuck. um, he was just freaking. He was just like trying to be an alpha male, of course, but the whole thing ended up being that they came back from vacation because she was upset that it was all that they broke up. So she wanted to come home. She wanted to be with Carl and talk it over with him and everything, and tell him it wasn't her idea. It was the girls, and he just came along, and she didn't know this was gonna happen. They're at the airport when the whole thing, Final Destination, over it. A big explosion. Yeah, you're rolling your eyes. I know. Big explosion happened at the airport, and they're stuck there, but they're not really stuck. Um, they end up hitching a ride and then they get to the apartment where there's a big hole. Everything there's a big hole. Um, they can't find their house. What's her face? Beatrice is freaking crying. Finds an orange cat, Ferdinand, a gravy boat, and hugs him. And the freaking cat scratches her. The cat scratches her arms and her face. Um, they, but she keeps him as a companion. You know what? Like I miss my cat. So she keeps Gravy Boat. She keeps Ferdinand and takes him, and they end up in a tent somewhere with others. You know all that stuff. So Sadir and Genrick find them. They find Gravy Boat. They want to keep Gravy Boat, but then they find Beatrice and Chad, and one of them dies because Alexis, Odette's um, uh, um, what's it called assistant, shoots him, and so Chad's all like, "I should grab the gun. I should grab the gun. I should grab the gun. Be a man. Be a man. Be an alpha male. You're the king. You're the king." And he keeps telling himself that, and we're in his perspective still, and we think he's gonna like actually do it, and then he dies. And then we see Alexa's perspective, and she's all like, "Hey, Beatrice, I found her. What do you want me to do with the guy? Kill him. What do you want me to do with this cat over here? Just leave him there." Okay. It's like, so, hey, Beatrice, I'm glad I found you. Come with me if you want to live, basically. Um, but also at the same time, we're heading to the Odette show because you're going to be the biggest reveal of not just fans, but you're going to be the biggest reveal by to Carl and Donut. And, you know, she's heading to Odette's show. We all thought she was dead. I thought she was dead. And I had this little theory that like maybe she's watching the show, maybe she's watched the show. No, they never got in the dungeon at all, so they've been alive this whole time. And now she's going there, and then Matt Dinneman is a genius for this. But now I have absolutely have to read book 5. So yeah. In closing, my book rankings. My book rankings are book 4 at number 1 because I absolutely love this. I spent most of the time reading this and figuring out stuff and like going through the entire thing, analyzing everything. Book 3 is number 2. I love the entire fight. I hated the whole train thing. I did, but I love the fight between Hecla and Hecla dying, and that was fucking crazy. Book 1 is number 3, obviously, because you know it's new, it's there. So my top 3 are those, and then book number 2 is my number 4 because it just felt a little slow for me. It felt like Dead by Daylight and Until Dawn and all these horror movies, horror games rolled into a story like this, but the pacing just seemed a little bit off. In closing, book 4 wasn't just my favorite because it had the biggest battles. It became my favorite because it perfected everything the series has been building toward. Um, the author found balance between comedy, horror, mythology, character growth, and pure gaming chaos. Every chapter seemed to remind me of something I grew up with, from Animorphs, Dune, Stronghold, Marvel Rivals, Community, while still feeling completely original. If book 3 convinced me the series was special, book 4 convinced me it's one of the most creative fantasy series I've read in a long time. So now I'm done with book 4. Book 4, yeah, I'm done with book 4. It's done. It's completely done. It's over with. I'm taking my that thing off, and I'm putting it up there, and you know it's gonna go back on the shelf. But now this is what I'm gonna kind of go ahead and read. The Butcher's Masquerade. I can't wait to read it. I can't wait to just crack it open. It has so many chapters already. I just know there's like so many pages in here, and it's probably going to take me another month to read, but that is something I'm going to do. So yeah, book five, here we come. Let's go. All right, and just like that, another summer night on the porch comes to a close. Today, we took a trip around the world without ever leaving our chairs. We looked back at an incredible round of 32 that gave us drama, upsets, penalty shootouts, last minute winners, and enough unforgettable moments to remind us why the World Cup only comes around every and enough unforgettable moments to remind us why the World Cup only comes around once every 4 years. Some countries booked their ticket to the round of 16, others saw their dreams and hit the crossbar, and a few found themselves sent home after 90 minutes that felt like they lasted a lifetime. That's football. One minute you're on top of the world, the next you're wondering where it all went offside, but that's why we love it. The World Cup doesn't care about rankings. The World Cup doesn't care about rankings. It doesn't care about predictions. Sometimes the favorite park the bus. Sometimes the underdog steal all 3 points. And every once in a while, David beats Goliath with a perfectly placed shot in the top corner. We'll be keeping our eyes on the round of 16 over the next few days as the road to the finals get even tougher. Can our teams keep advancing? Can the Cinderella stories continue? Or is somebody about to receive the biggest red card of the tournament? Figuratively speaking, of course. We'll find out together. And don't forget, we'll be back with a late night 4th of July episode. And for the first time in a little while, Greg returns to the porch. One of the things I'm looking forward to the most is hearing his thoughts after reading Dungeon Crawler Carl for the very first time. I got him into it. We got him into it. We did. He told me, he showed me a picture, he sent me a picture, him reading the book. Last I talked to him, he was on chapter 3, favorite chapter. Um, so I told him, like, hey, like it gets better. You're going to love it. And he's loving it. Um, Plus, I've been talking about this series for weeks. Now finally his turn. Did he survive the crawl? Did Princess Donut win him over? Did the chaos completely consume him? Or is he already asking where book 2 is? We'll find out together. We'll ask. We'll ask. We'll ask all the questions. Hey, what do you think of it? And that's only the beginning. We'll have more summer nostalgia, more World Cup reactions, more pod deck questions, more top 5 lists, more debates, more stories, and whatever weird rabbit hole the internet throws at us next. Before we really go, take a breath with me. July has officially arrived. There are fireworks to watch, movies to see, ice cream to eat, books to read, games to play, air conditioners to be in front of, and memories waiting to be made. Thank you for spending this time here in my third place, not home, not work, just a space where we show up, laugh, tell stories, leave the porch light on for whoever wants to stop by. Take care of each other. Take care of yourself. Stay cool. Stay hydrated, please. And if your country scores a last minute winner this week, don't just celebrate quietly. Seize the goal mint. No? Don't let anyone rain on your penalty parade. Keep your spirits above the crossbar. And remember, life's always a little better when you're willing to kick it with good people. This is the M3P podcast where community, creativity, nostalgia, and just a little extra stoppage time always have a seat on the front porch. We'll see you on the 4th of July. Until then, from the top of your lungs, get that throat ready. Get that throat ready. You know you want to. Come on, get it ready. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Get that throat ready. I don't care how I said it. Don't think that way. Get that throat ready and inner. Let's go. Let's go. You ready? On three. One, two, three. Golazo! Goal. We'll see you next time. Thank you for making it this far. Have a great night, guys. Take care.